Welcome back to the Educational Opportunity Podcast, where our goal is to ignite potential with actionable insights that lead to thriving careers and empowered lives. My name is Shayla Letcher, and today I am joined by
Edgar Johnson with Upstate Medical University Human Resource Department, and I work in talent acquisition.
Wonderful. Now, for the folks that are listening and they want to know a little bit more about talent acquisition, can you explain what that means?
Yes, it is the recruitment process. So I'm on the front end of recruitment, and I'm out in the community to attract talent for Upstate, to present that talent to our hiring department. So we want to make sure that we are being inclusive in our efforts of reaching out to all communities in the Central New York region.
Oh, beautiful. Wonderful. So that breaks it down for me and for the folks listening, some of our job seekers in our community that are looking to explore what Upstate has to offer. This is going to be a really pleasant conversation for you. So be sure to tune in and don't forget to like and subscribe. Edgar, tell me how did you find yourself at Upstate?
So this is my second stint at Upstate. The first time I was there was from 2003 to 2012, and I left and went elsewhere to another opportunity. And then I came back in 2023. During 2003 and 2012, I worked closely with SUNY EOC back then.
Okay.
I know some of the people. I know Tim Penix.
Yes.
Yep. I know him. I used to sit on some of their committees and help support them with their clients, helping them to get employment at Upstate, but also helping them, with their skills to promote themselves, like mock interviews, things of that nature.
Love that. Love that. And so I'm just so privileged and honored to continue that work, building out this relationship. It has been hugely helpful for our students so far. I've been making direct referrals to you.
Yes.
And so, just giving like an overview of Upstate Medical University and the hospital, what would our viewers need to know about the landscape? Right? What does there's two separate parts. You got the hospital, the university. Clear that up for us.
Yes. So actually Upstate is a very huge organization, the largest employer. We're around 13,000 employees. And it's actually made up of three areas. And then you got other layers too, such as the unions. But we are a university, a teaching hospital, and we conduct medical research.
Wow.
I'm going to say we don't toot our horn enough on the medical research. We are world renowned when it comes to medical research. We had something to do with the COVID vaccine that came out of Upstate.
Wow.
People do not know that.
I did not know that.
We got some brilliant individuals up there.
Okay.
And so I'm going to toot their home for them.
Yes.
Then we have the hospital, of course. Actually, three hospitals: downtown, the Children's Hospital, and then Community General.
Gotcha.
And the medical research, the hospital, and then the university. So we have the medical school and then 4 colleges.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Gotcha. Okay. And so, with all of that segmentation, are there different employers within that landscape?
Yes.
We talked a little bit about that before.
Exactly. Yes. So actually, Upstate is on the employer side. We're made up of 3 employers. There's the state of New York, and about 70% of the employees at Upstate work under the state system. And then there's MedVest, and they're private, and they actually even have their own HR department. And I collaborate with them a lot. And then we have the Research Foundation, of course, to support our medical research.
Oh, wonderful. Yes. Okay. So 3 different employers within this entity that is Upstate Hospital. And then you have, of course, the university and a few downtown locations. So it's expansive, right?
Yes.
What are some of the essential roles behind the scenes that help keep a large healthcare institution like Upstate running every day?
Well, I cannot say anything unless I speak about our cleaners, environmental services. They are probably everyone is important, but they have to keep the hospital clean. And it is a very difficult job to keep it spotless clean. We get reviewed by the state occasionally, and they really work hard. And another reason why the department to me is important is because we have people in that department from all different walks of life from different countries. So we have a large refugee immigrant population working there. And it is so refreshing to see people from different backgrounds work together, to come together under one mission.
Oh, absolutely.
It speaks to that this is possible.
Absolutely. That's beautiful. Diversity, right? Diversity in thought, skill, and ability. And so that just makes it a better, more comprehensive workplace, right?
Exactly. And then also, another reason why I like to highlight environmental services is because it is a stepping stone to get into the university. So we typically hire from within a lot, and that what makes us unique. About 60% of our hires are internal.
Oh, wow.
So a lot of people come in through environmental services as a stepping stone with college degrees. And then as opportunities come up, they apply. If they're a good employee, they're going to get the position.
Bingo. Okay.
It's a great way to get in. And I always advise people to just get in, because once you're in, the opportunities are vast. There's so many opportunities to do it, to do what you want to do. Eventually, we support our employees with educational benefits. And then it's an opportunity to network. It's just such a huge organization.
Wow. And that's like a barrier that a lot of students face. It's just, our students, they have far-reaching goals. They have high expectations for themselves. And sometimes it's just about getting your foot in the door, right?
Yes.
Not necessarily vying for one particular title or role. It's like, how can you get in front of the people that can open the doors for you,
exactly.
Right?
And if you want to get into Upstate, which is a great employer, that is one strategy to use. I try to encourage job seekers to really think outside the box. And you just said it.
Yeah.
In your job search, your goal is to try to get in front of that decision maker.
Yep.
And whatever that takes.
Yep.
Try to get in front of that decision maker, but also think strategically. Maybe it's volunteering. Maybe it's participating in some of our walks.
Yes.
To get to meet people.
Absolutely.
So yes, I encourage that a lot.
And that's another thing that you just mentioned about, some of the walks that Upstate does, community events. And this is something that, you really sparked my curiosity around in a light bulb almost moment, where I'm like, students can go to these events and use them as networking opportunities to not just support the cause, but to meet the staff and get familiarized with some of those decision makers that you said.
Exactly.
So that's amazing.
Yes. And in my younger years,
Yeah.
I used to participate, and I would be a conduit for that. I would invite people from the community to come, and I'll introduce them to people from Upstate. And so I need to get back into that again.
Yeah. That's a huge help.
And it is a help.
And it helps because it breaks down some of that nervousness that our students might be experiencing where they go to traditional networking events, and it's, a lot more, it can almost seem transactional, right?
Right.
But in some of these environments, it's more like you're coming alongside to not only support the cause, to learn more, but to also develop some relationships.
Exactly. And I know people who have got hired that way too as well.
Okay, beautiful.
Yeah.
And so Upstate isn't unique because it's both a hospital and a medical college. How does working in an academic medical center create opportunities for employees to learn, develop new skills, and advance professionally?
And that's just the key, learn. We're a learning environment because of the colleges there. So we really encourage professional development to gain as much skills and knowledge that you're able to. But one of the things that I would like to mention is that I'd like to help try to change the perception of is that sometimes careers are not linear, and that's okay.
Yes.
And that is fine. My career was not linear, but I went another route. I didn't realize this, but as I went another route, I was gaining other skills, which made me valuable. So when I got into my ultimate career, I became more valuable than those who were linear, because now I'm called upon to sit on this committee because my background in this industry. So what I'm trying to say, don't ever get discouraged if your career is not linear. Remember that anything that you invest in yourself becomes valuable at some point.
Yes, those transferable skills that you can home over across sector. I would say that is amazing advice.
Yes.
Our students are multifaceted. They come from different industry.
Yes.
Some are, folks that are returning to work after being out of the workplace for a long time. Some have recently located to the area, new Americans, are reentering into society, maybe have been previously incarcerated for great lengths of time. And so everyone's coming from different vantage points and have different barriers. But it's important to know that wherever you come from, you can bring a little bit of that experience and skill, and that just helps you be more diversified in your ability and relatability, right?
Exactly.
Yes.
Yep. And don't ever try to hide any of those skills.
Right.
Make them known.
Yep. And that's something to make known in the interview process,
Yes.
right? We're in the process of coordinating some more mock interviews with your folks, and that's something to really focus on. It's just what can help you excel and stand out in a mock interview. And like you said, sometimes students are averse to bringing up some of their background skills because they don't think it's applicable.
Right.
And then they put themselves at a disadvantage, actually, right?
Exactly. Because if I'm hiring for a department, and if I find out that you have this other skill, that may be the deal breaker right there. It sets you apart from the other candidates.
Yes. And those soft skills, right? And we talk about upstate and being in an environment where anyone can have an opportunity. You just get into that door, right? You're breaking through those barriers. What are some of the soft skills that you would say from your experience really helps one to stand out in an environment like upstate?
So an environment like that, so upstate, first of all, is a team-based environment. So you definitely got to have really good interpersonal skills. You have to be able to know how to deal with conflict in a professional way, in a productive way. Because let's be honest, when you put together a bunch of human beings, there's going to be some conflict. But your ability to manage that is going to be critical. So managing conflict, your interpersonal skills, and then also trying to understand some of the hidden rules. And there's a lot of research out about that. Like for example, when you first come into the organization, try to identify who is who. And I say, if you can, try to identify a mentor. Someone who has been there for a long time. And they may be your key to help you advance, to give you information. I have been, when I started at Upstate, I was fortunate that the chief nursing officer took me under her wings, and she actually opened up a lot of doors for me, and I'm very grateful for that. And so it is networking from within. So after you get the position, it's networking and identifying a mentor.
Yes, that is great advice, great wisdom. Sometimes those mentors are clearly identified when you first start. You might be assigned a mentor. When I had the privilege of working at Upstate, I did the SUNY RF mentorship program, where they identified a SUNY representative, another SUNY employee to be your mentor, and I was a mentee. So that was an awesome program initiative that Upstate offers. But then there's the informal mentorship, like the one that you just mentioned, that can also prove to be just as valuable, right? With really making sure that you have internal who's who information, right? What sort of projects might be up and coming that aren't public yet that you might be able to support, contribute to, and then boards, right? Something, being able to sit in on those depending on your skills and your background, right?
And then being able to find someone who's going to be your cheerleader, someone who's going to support you.
And that's almost undervalued, right? Just having an advocate in the workplace to speak well about you, and especially if you're new to the organization.
It is.
So many job seekers in our community have backgrounds in manufacturing, construction, facilities, and skilled trades. Are there roles at Upstate where those kinds of technical or hands-on skills translate well into employment opportunities?
Yes. So we have a huge physical plant department and environmental services. It all overlaps. And so we do offer like maintenance assistant position, the entry level positions. And then if you want to advance into some of the other areas, like electronics, carpentry, we will help you to get there.
Okay,
and so
beautiful.
Again, it's just getting in, a networking inwards, and then going from there.
getting your start,
Getting
right?
your start,
And
exactly.
some of those basic things like being on time. Can you show that you can show up
Yes.
every day,
Mhm.
work through your shift,
Mhm.
not
Yes.
need, a ton of time off consistently, just having stability as an employee, right?
Yes, and one thing I tell people is that, okay, so you were in that interview and you told us X, Y, and Z. Now you have to spend the next 6 months to a year proving that to us.
Yes.
You got to prove that. So now the burden is on you
Yes.
to prove it. And also, another thing that I suggest is try to build a trusting relationship with your supervisor. Build a relationship with your supervisor. So if something is not going right in your life, that you feel comfortable going to them, letting them know that you have to take some time off so they can be understanding. But just building that relationship and gaining their trust. How do you gain trust, especially in the
Mm,
entry level roles? Well,
love
if
that.
yes, if
Love
you're
that.
asked to do something, do it.
Yeah.
Be dependable. Be reliable. Be the person that the supervisor will say, you know what, I could call on her
Yes.
and I know I could depend on her.
Yeah.
That's how you build that trusted relationship. And once that is built, it gets much easier.
It's established, and now you can just
Established.
build on that,
Yeah.
branch out. Trust is huge. It's a
Yeah.
huge commodity, especially like you said, for entry level professionals.
Yes.
If you're not someone that's getting hired from within, you're coming from outside the organization. Like you said, Edgar, 6 months to a year, proving and establishing that, right?
Yeah,
Why so long? Why does it take 6 months to a year?
I would say I don't think that's long, really. It just I think the relationship takes that long to really develop.
Yeah.
Because you think about it, like the first 3 months, you're probably on the quiet side.
Yeah.
It gives you enough time to really
Observe.
exactly.
Yeah.
Observe and get used to the environment, and then also find your niche within the group.
Yes.
Find your niche within the group.
Exactly.
And maybe that niche could be doing the research.
Yes.
Yep. And volunteering, when you're in meetings, volunteering to do things.
Yes. Yeah. Being that go-to person, dependable, like you said.
Exactly.
And, especially in the beginning, not being too niche in the beginning, right? Being
Yep.
open to, helping out and assisting in whatever ways that you can, again, establish that trust barrier with your supervisor. But then as you branch out over the next, 6 months to a year, beginning to whittle down as you make your observations of areas of need, right? To begin to stand in that gap in the ways that you feel most confident.
Yes.
Right.
Exactly. And and again, it is very important to stay connected to your supervisor.
Yes.
I cannot say enough about that. I make sure, like, periodically, even now, I make sure that I stop by my supervisor off, but just say hello, just to let them know how I'm doing.
Yeah. Updates, right? Casual updates.
Yes, casual updates. In my earlier part of my career, I didn't realize that, and I thought that I didn't believe in that first, but now I saw that you have to do that to build a relationship.
Valuable. Yeah.
It's very valuable. So now my supervisor trusts me because I stop by every now and then. He knows what I'm doing.
Visibility.
Visibility, and with that, self-advocacy.
Yes.
And especially in a large organization.
Okay.
There's so many people that if you do not have the ability to advocate for yourself, you'll disappear.
Silenced out.
Silenced out.
We talked about advocacy on a mentorship level, and you're bringing up self advocacy and being really intentional about that, right? Maybe bringing your supervisor in on a loop on a problem that you recently solved, or someone that new that you've met that you found interesting, or something fascinating that you learned about the job.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. So it's much more than just the work.
Right.
It really is. It's about the relationships.
Absolutely.
And especially at Upstate.
Yeah.
It's about the relationships.
And in the past, I had the opportunity to get into Upstate through a temp agency, which a lot of folks, they don't think of going that route when you are an outsider. But it's a great way to get a temporary assignment. And when you get your foot in the door that way, again, build that relationship with your supervisor. She was the one that advocated for me for a permanent position. So that was wonderful. And again, just something that I don't think I would have ever considered because I didn't know anything about clinical research beforehand.
Right. Exactly.
You know, because you just don't see those types of roles. And again, you know, when you do see them, you think, well, maybe I'm not qualified or maybe I wouldn't be the one considered for this. But when you get on the inside and you see how it actually looks on the day to day, because obviously a role looks very different in real life and in operational capacity than what you would read in a job description, right?
Exactly.
So that's awesome. Just being really intentional with visibility with your supervisor, self advocacy, brief updates. Beautiful.
Exactly.
Now, for listeners who are considering a career change or exploring new opportunities, what makes Upstate Medical University and Upstate University Hospital strong places to build a stable and meaningful career?
I would say our culture supports that. You know, our culture, we have a culture that supports that. And if you want to advance in your career, we want you to advance. So we're like this. If you want to stay in entry level role, you can do that. But we're hoping that as you are being exposed to different areas, that you build up the courage and the excitement that you want to pursue something else.
Yes.
We have many of our employees that come in through environmental services are now nurses.
Wonderful. Okay.
And so they move on. So we want that.
Yes.
And we call it healthy turnover with environmental services. We want them to advance.
Okay.
And like I said, about 60% of our jobs are filled internally. Wow. And that speaks to how we value our employees. We rather give them the opportunities over the jobs first than externally. Yes. Because I heard someone say this, because we feel that if we're going to train you, we might keep you.
Yeah.
And we want you to grow with us.
Retention,
exactly.
And that's huge. That's the culture at Upstate. You guys have high retention. Stability is all embedded in there. We've had cultural discussions as well. And just, you know, being mindful as an entry level professional or someone that is just now entering, you know, an environment like Upstate is just making, again, an intentional effort to learn those cultural dynamics. Exactly. You know, what is the I guess the descriptive factors around that culture, and asking more questions about that. That way you can be more adaptable and really fill that mold, right?
Yes, exactly. And then too, I want to talk about a little bit about thinking outside the box.
Yes.
Too as well. For example, there is you heard of On Point for College?
Yes, we love On Point.
Yeah, yes. It's a great organization.
Yes.
And there's an SU student who's an On Point for College student, and she is majoring at SU in healthcare administration.
Oh, wonderful.
She took a part-time job as a cleaner while she's going to school. Smart. She's meeting managers. She's getting exposed to all the different areas in the hospital, and she even told me one day it complements her studies. See, she thought outside the box.
Bigger picture.
Bigger picture. So when she gets her degree,
she's already in there.
She's already in there.
It's only a matter of time.
Yes, exactly.
Beautiful.
So again, thinking outside the box, looking at things as opportunities and not so much as, you know, limitations, but as opportunities. And I had to learn that too in life. Everything is an opportunity.
It is. It absolutely is. Edgar, thank you so much for coming in today, having this chat with us. This is an incredible partnership, and we are so eager to build this out to do more with Upstate and just be, again, more visible to you all as you're visible to our platforms and students.
I hear from these programs.
Yes, exactly. That's the ultimate goal, right?
Yes, I want to see that. Yes.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much for watching. Again, don't forget to like and subscribe. Any last words of wisdom for our viewers today?
Yes, to remain positive and know that there's always something good at the end. No matter what your struggles are, you will get through, and there's always something good at the end.
Yes. Keep the faith.
Keep the faith.
All right, folks, thank you so much. And until next time, take care.
Yes, thank you.